Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts and exploring unusual whales options activity. I'm going to do another episode of unusual whale watching here over the course of the next hour, power hour for Friday, August 9th. I'm just going to be looking at some alerts that popped up today and just kind of exploring how the premium has changed over the course of the day. Maybe they were good trades, maybe they were not good trades. Some of them I have participated in, some of them I have not. And this is all really just documenting my learning experience, getting more familiar with unusual whales, which you can see behind me. And so I will go over this flow that I do have listed up here. I do have some filters on it, but I actually wanted to go over the alerts first that have stood out. Some of them expire today, and some of them expire later in the month. And so, yeah, I thought we could explore those. And then once we've done that, can look at some more options. And I've got this tab open. This is kind of like the live feed of the options flow with some filters, but then this other tab that I'm going to go over to are some of the alerts that had popped up. And actually, they popped up through the Unusual Whales Discord, which I have to say thank you to members, subscribers of the channel who encouraged me to set up a Discord for the channel. I never really used it before, and I find that to be the best way to get alerts for unusual whales. And then once those are alerted, look them up on the web browser and see if they look appealing. And the first one that's up here I guess I have a number of them up here, and I might do them based on when they expire and when I was alerted to them. And so rather than starting at the top with AST Space Mobile, I am going to start with Unity Software, which did get an alert earlier today. And so, I thought I'd go over that and we can see, what the value of this contract is. And so this does expire today with Unity Software expiring below or closing below a price of 16. So that is, what this contract is saying. And so here the alert came out around 10 a.m. this morning, and this should be Eastern time here on the web browser. And so if I switch over to Webull, I can look up Unity Software here that is on the minute time scale. So this is all going to be the minute time scale for today's video. And we can see that at 10 in the morning, I'm just going to make sure that this is, this should be Eastern time that we're viewing. And so if we look at like 10 in the morning, that was around here, and this was saying that, Unity Software should be closing today below $16. And at this time, the open interest for the day, or for prior to today, it was 592 contracts. But then we see the volume go up by more than that. So that is why there's this alert. Volume has exceeded open interest. And so volume for the course of the day has been, it looks like over 5,000. We can see the bid here. So that's the sell of these puts that would be bullish is over 1,000 contracts traded. And then the ask, or, the buy side is over 4,000 contracts traded. And so that does suggest that this is in more of the bearish favor, that more contracts are being purchased, suggesting that price would go lower. And so at 10 this morning, right around here, price was right around $16. And, price went as high as 1648 during the day, hit around 1056, and then price did come down to a low following that of 1522. So, from that high to that low, that would have been a good swing. But considering that the average premium for these contracts, it's a lot were purchased right here on that little spike up. The average premium is 56 cents per contract. And so that is that translates to $56 per contract, and the total premium looks like it's over $300,000. So a lot of money on this. And as we can see here, with that average fill where there's that green bar there, the let's see, if I move the cursor, it will adjust it, but the average fill at that time was 69 cents. And then price over here that went to candle premium. Wait, no, that's not what I want. Oh, average fill of 77 cents. So from here, 69, there was an opportunity to make some money on that, but you've got to be very nimble with these and make sure that, sell orders placed and whatnot. But if we look at the current price now, it does look like Unity Software could be closing below 16. But, the premium is currently worth, let's see, this most recent update within the past, for the 5 minutes that we're currently at, the premium is around 48 cents. So from the average fill up here to current value, it has gone down. But following this alert, picking up contracts at the dip here, which would have been at 13 cents, definitely could have made some money on that. So I think this is, an interesting example of 0 days to expiration, trading based on an alert, waiting for a dip, and then it going higher and exiting. But it does look like there are a lot of contracts that could potentially be closing out of the money or just closing at a premium that is much less than 56 cents. So I find this one to be interesting, but the 0 days to expiration I find very risky, and I find that for myself, I really can't trade them. I'm just not good at it. I need at least a couple week window before they do expire. And so I'm just going to flip back over to the chart here. So, it does look like for trading for the day, that price could very well be closing below 16. But the contracts, if there's a put with a strike of $16, really, that value would be worth the difference between the closing price if it's lower than 16 and $16. So that would be about, $40 or 40-cent contract, which would translate to around $40. So, that is the Unity Software put that expires today. So I did get an alert on that. Another one that I got an alert for more recently was Beyond Meat. This, is also expiring today. This is with a $9 strike, a call, and we can see this massive, green candle bar, whatever it is here. And that shows that the average fill price was 30 cents per contract at that time, but for the day, it looks like the average fill was 33 cents, so a little bit higher than that. But it was also, on a spike in that average fill. This has come down a lot, so it does seem like, very risky because we've got less than an hour before the market closes, and Beyond needs to be closing above $9 a share. And so if we look at Beyond Meat, let's see, actually, I'm going to switch back over to here. When was this big candle? That was, or that bar, I guess, the big order. That was around an hour ago, so 205 to 210. And so if we look over here, where was that? That was, right around here where the cursor is. And price at that time was trading lower than $9, so it's an out of the money call. But currently, we've seen that prices come down a lot more since then, and the value of those contracts looks like the average fill currently is right around 5 cents. So it's gone from 30 cents here around an hour ago to 5 cents here. So that's a pretty big decrease in value with less than an hour left. This seems very, very risky. So I think this is like a really nice example of why 0 days to expiration, which is commonly abbreviated DTE, why that's very, very risky, whether calls or puts. And also, maybe this does close above 30 cents. Maybe Beyond Meat really launches above these levels and, it ends up being a good trade. But, right now, with the value so much lower, the price so much lower than $9 a share, emotions can kind of take over. So I think that is another reason why it's good to have wiggle room time before the expiration. And one thing that I can do, let's see, is do a Fibonacci retracement here from 924 down to, let's see, I just want to have the number here, 641. Let's see if any of these levels stand out. And so it does look like it got rejected from the 236. Maybe it's going to find support here from this yellow level that's around 662. I'm not sure what that is based on. It might be just kind of an arbitrary level. But yeah, I mean, maybe it does find support and it starts to rocket up in the next 50 minutes and close above 9. Who knows? But yeah, just again, it seems really risky. But I did think, want to go over that because I do find that pretty interesting. And then so, on these other ones, a lot of them are the expiration of August 16th, August 23rd. One is August 30th, which I did do a video on. That was on Chewy. And so I will just kind of go down this list. The first one here is AST Space Mobile. I know that I've covered this a couple times on the channel. It has been of interest. And there was an alert that came out today when it looks like, this is for, not the expiration for this Friday, today the 9th, but next Friday, that the average fill was 99 cents. And for the course of the day, the average fill was 105. And from there, we can see that it's currently at, let's see, 109. So the value of these contracts is above the average fill for today. So I do find that to be pretty encouraging. Also, the expiration is not this Friday, it's next Friday. And that is for a call with a strike of $24. So let's check out the chart over here. And we can see, yeah, I mean, this looks like, this order was placed around 11:15 in the morning. And that was, when the price was coming down. So, finding a bottom. So it seemed like a good time to either be purchasing contracts or be buying shares down here with the expectation that price would then be going up next week. And I should note that I think they have earnings next week. So today's the 9th, 11th. I think on Wednesday next week, on the 14th. And so there could be a lot of volatility around that. And so with a strike of $24, that, this could be going up notably. And let's see, let's just look at the chart on the daily time frame to get kind of a better perspective. That would be, going past these highs that were hit today of 23.04. And so this could potentially keep going higher. And, I have done videos on this. I suggested the top was in and I was wrong. But, it is what it is. And so with this, yeah, I mean, maybe price does continue to go higher. But if a contract was to be filled here, in this, let's say at this price of 99 cents, what I've been finding works for me is just setting limit sells for 20% higher than whatever my average fill is. And I tend to do just one contract at a time. And I try to not buy contracts that cost more than $1. So that's $100 per contract. Or I should say average fill that has a fill for me, buy at $1 or less translates to $100 or less. And the reason for that is I just don't want to risk more than $100 on one of these plays if in case it does go to zero. And that's just my threshold. But, so if this was filled at 99 cents, one could place an order, a limit order at $1.20. That's a 20% swing. I think that's pretty good. And so right now it's around 118. And we can look at that in the options table for AST. Look at calls. For next Friday, we can look at the strike of $24. So to sell, it would be $1. But to buy is $120. So, maybe having a limit at $120 would be, a good way to exit this, make 20% profit, and then move on to the next trade. But, I did not participate in this one. I just thought that was interesting to look at and consider because there is a weak buffer. There is earnings around it. And it does look like the massive, call order was placed at a time when price was, retracting. from those highs. So it made sense. And one thing, I'm just going to adjust this sidebar so it lines up with my video feed there. So that is one contract. Then I've gone over beyond. Let's see what's going on with this. Yeah, I mean it's let's see. Yeah, I mean this is gone to be worthless effectively. 1 cent, so from 33. So this was, a very risky play. But the premium here was, over 100,000. I should note that I don't think I've been noting that. For ASTS, premium is almost $1 million. So this one does seem, really, really good. Like there's a lot of money in there. Whereas like something like with Beyond, this is just like a legit degen throwing away $100,000. So this seems like a very bad trade, bad example here. And then the next one on the list, actually this one expires at the end of the month, so I'll do that later. This one did pop up today, DraftKings. This also, we can see this is a put expiring next Friday with a strike of $29.50. So we can look over here, $29.50, prices above that, so that is an out of the money put. And this large order, which is an average fill of 49 cents, came about at kind of a spike here, and that was at around 12:45 to 1 o'clock. And so we could see that 12:45 to 1, that was corresponding with this kind of bounce here, but then it did pull back more. So yeah, there's still a week for this one, and the value of it, this was worth 49 cents, the average fill for the day, 49 cents. Premium being over 100,000, so that's the total premium. So that's this average fill times the number of contracts, and that's how you get that premium effectively. And we can see that the volume traded for the day is over 3.5 thousand, whereas the open interest is 240. So that volume is much, much higher than the open interest, with a small amount of it on the bid side, majority of it on the ask side, so suggesting price would go higher. And so here, this was like 49 cents. Currently, those are worth 56 cents. So that is, definitely, and was just recently worth 59 cents. So that is definitely an opportunity to swing that for some premium. And if we do look now, so it was 49 cents here. If we look at the premium, that's for puts expiring next week, 29.50. Okay, so just going to look that up in the options table here. So puts with a strike of 29.50 to sell those, that is currently, or I should say 15 minutes ago, because this data is delayed, but that is worth $58. So that was a nice swing today. That could be held on into next week, but then that would really just be opening up risk with that. But I do find this one to be pretty interesting. And of these tickers, I might do some videos on them over the weekend. And so I think ASTS seems like a very intriguing one, because it is a call suggesting price would go higher. And this does seem like it was a good call with over $800,000 on it. So I find this to be useful in informing what the stock price might do, whether one wanted to trade calls, puts, options, or just, buy some shares. This does seem like it was a good play. And then another one, this is pretty exciting, GameStop did get an alert today. And so this is for a strike of $23.50 for next Friday. And so that was purchased here with an average fill of 47 cents. That is the average fill for the day. Open interest for, prior to today was over 1,000. Volume traded today was nearly 5,000, with few of those orders being bids or sells relative to the over 4,000 that were on the ask side or the buy side. So this does suggest, that price could be going towards, if not above, $23.50 regarding GameStop next week. So this is also, something that I think I might want to put into a video. So GameStop, ASTS, interesting ones to cover. And so here, 47 cents, currently worth 55. Let's look at the table for GameStop to see what those are. So calls for next week, August 16th, 23.50 to sell. That would be 50 cents or $50. And so this average fill, that would have been making, about 3 cents or $3 per contract. So not really that incredible, but the high for the day was 64 cents. Here it looks like 58, but we can see the low and the high traded for the day here. So 64 cents was the high, although maybe that wouldn't have been filled if trying to sell those contracts. But this could suggest that price will be going up into next week, because if we look at the chart for GameStop, currently trading below $22 a share, and looking at this on the daily time frame, 23.50 would be bringing price up back to around Warren Kitty's average. So maybe we're going to be getting there next week, and maybe we start to see the beginning of a breakout because the Chewy call that does expire at the end of August does suggest a lot of bullish activity. So I will go over that, but probably once I've gone through these other ones on the list here. So the next one on the list looks like it's Rivian. This is actually a put that I bought right before their earnings call, just kind of having fun exploring unusual whales. And let's see if I can adjust this to the past 3 days. So I think I picked up shares, let's see, the past 3 days. So their earnings call was, when was their earnings call? So Rivian, their earnings call was on the 6th. So if I look back here, and I'm actually make this, 7 days, we can see that on the, let's see, just going back to the 6th at the end, this is effectively when I placed that order. Average fill around 64 cents. I think mine was around 64, I believe. And, I could have, it doesn't show here, but on the 7th, right at open, I could have sold it for a very small profit, but I didn't. And I ended up trimming today, or trimming, by that I mean close my position, because I didn't think that it would necessarily be going down to 13.50, and maybe that's a mistake on my part, but I don't want to be losing $65. So I did trim today, or close my position, I should say, at a strike, or not a strike, at a ask price, at a bid price of 32 cents. That's the average of today. I believe it was, right around here. It looks like the average fill was 33 cents. The high for the day was 38 cents. So I could have sold taking a slightly smaller loss. But I just didn't think, I would have another opportunity to really exit, especially, if it, with theta decay and stuff, I felt like I should just offload that contract, so I lost about $30 on it, but it's not a big deal. A good learning opportunity, and I do have some Rivian shares, so I'm not too concerned about that. But also, I should note a lot of these contracts, if I don't mention it, the premium, what I like to see is when this number is above 100,000, and so the reason for that is, for me, 45,000, that's a lot. I don't have that kind of money to be placing a trade, but by definition, what a YOLO play is coming from Wall Street Bets, that is at least $10,000. And so that suggests that there could be just some, some degens on Wall Street Bets, betting on something going up higher, lower, whatever. And so a premium of 45,000, it could just be somebody with a lot of money who's willing to gamble, a YOLO. And so I'm less convinced by that. But when I look at something like, let's see, some of them, like GameStop here has over 200,000. Let's see, ASTS, this is almost 1 million, 831,000. So that suggests to me that there could definitely be some bullish activity with ASTS moving forward. And so far, this was profitable for today, whereas the one like Rivian, it hasn't been. And so that's part of the learning process for me. And I'm been learning a lot with Unusual Whales, which means I've been making some money with them today, but this week, but also I've been losing a little bit. Probably balances out, but I'm not in this one anymore, but it was kind of like maybe a hedge against their earnings in case they were bad. But I assume because there is another week on this, maybe it could be come in the money, but just that premium of 45, almost 46,000, it's not really that much. And yet we could look at the chart too, the Rivian chart. I should pull that up. Looking at it on the minute time scale, it did come down a lot today, and so I just kind of saw that as an opportunity to exit because over the past couple days it has, bounced up. Following their earnings. So it did come down at this time, at open, I could have sold that contract, made it $5 to $10, I think, on it, but I didn't. I saw that it was gapping down. And so I viewed that as, I can make a lot of money on this. But even though, the low on the 7th was 1330, so below that strike of 1350, it wasn't low enough. The volatility wasn't enough to make that premium have my limit order filled. And so this was just a really nice example of, it's gapping down. I'm going to make tons of money on this put, but then it bounces. And I could have made some money. I could have made 10 to 20%, I think, on it. So that's not a huge amount of money because it's just one contract. But that was a good lesson for me in recognizing that, to not be greedy. I shouldn't expect 100% swing or something like that overnight. I should settle for 10 to 20%. And, that would have, I believe, been filled. But instead, I took a 50% loss on a $60 trade. Not a big deal. That's part of the learning process, or at least that's how I learn. F around and find out. That's the way that I learn. And so that's what I'm doing. And we can look at this on the minute time scale, coming back to this. And it just looks like it's come down, flipping back over to the daily. Sorry, I keep going back and forth. I could definitely see, my sentiment with Rivian is I've been building a very small position, but I do see that it could be coming down to $12 a share. And so I don't want to be getting too aggressive in my small buys. And this was kind of a bet on, if I think it's coming down to 12, a $13.50 strike put is, somewhat conservative. And I do have this red line right around there. This 50% retracement is right at 13.56. So, I found that to be an interesting play to partake in, a great lesson for me that I learned. And then another one, this might be of interest because I know that, there are some people who follow the channel who've been interested in SoundHound. And also, an AI play. So this was also alerted today. This is a call expiring next week with a strike of $5.50. Before I get into the details on on that alert, if we look at SoundHound, and we can see that price is trading below $5.50, so it's an out of the money call. And looking at the 1 minute time scale, we can see, the volatility over the course of the day. And let's just look at all of that. And so that order was filled at around, 145 to 150. And so that would be 145 to 150. That would be, right around here. So when this is like coming down a little bit, this person's getting very bullish around here. And that was like a bottom, so it does make sense. And looking at that, the average fill at that time was 15 cents. It looks like that's the average fill for the day. And we can see that the premium for this order was around 100, or not necessarily this order, but for the trading over the course of the day is 131,000, with the open interest being 5.7 thousand from yesterday, so not including today's volume. But the volume for today was higher. If we look at the bid volume, so that'd be bearish. That's on the sell side. It's about 1.6 thousand, whereas the ask 6.3 thousand. So that's suggesting that there's a lot more in favor of this going higher. But relative to open interest, that is not, like that's more than the open interest, but it's not like an insane amount. So this, seems like one that's like, that's interesting to note, but I'd rather see this volume be a lot higher than that open interest because the volume traded today, so I'm learning as I go, so all of this volume here, it's broken down, but that should be represented by this total volume traded today. The majority of that being on the ask or buy side, but that not being, more than double the open interest. But from that fill at 15 cents. Currently, it's trading right around 15 cents. So it did go a little bit higher, so it could have been a nice swing, but it also did come lower down to around 11 cents. So, this could have been a losing trade, and that, does expire next Friday, though, so there is some time to have some wiggle room. And I should note down here, the lowest fill or the low fill for the day was 10 cents, whereas the high was 30 cents. And this order was filled right in the middle, or not right in the middle, at 15 cents, so closer to that low. So potentially this has, some great potential to make some money over the course of next week, but then it's getting to less than 5 days until expiration, so it gets a little risky in my view, or at least how I manage my emotions and trade this stuff. And so I do have a couple contracts that are also expiring this month on the 23rd, and then after I go over these, I'll look at the Chewy one, which I think just looks really, really exciting. But so here, this is a contract for Micron Technology with a $108 strike expiring August 23rd. So we've got 2 weeks before this expires. Definitely being an out of the money order because it's currently trading around $93.60. But we do have 14 days or, 5 trading days until that, would expire. And so here it looks like, there was a fair amount of selling of this call option and some in the mid, which is, right between the bid and the ask price. So right between sellers and buyers. But so the bid, it's pretty notable, 730 contracts of the 794 traded during the day today. But then the open interest is less than 500. Total volume traded today is over 3,000. And the majority of that, 2/3 of it, is on the buy side. But that these orders were filled at an average price of 38 cents. We did see a low of 27 cents, a high of 44. So as far as this being a day trade, definitely did not seem to play out very well. But there are 2 weeks before this expires. And so MU and the broader, semiconductor chip sector could be going much higher. And I wouldn't be surprised by that. So maybe that is something of interest, just to, be keeping an eye on. And so if we're looking at the daily, we did see a massive pullback. And so from this, let's see, I don't know what this is an extension here. What I can do here looking on the daily is I can do a Fibonacci retracement coming from the top $157.40 coming down to 84.91. Let's see if I can get this to the right level once I'm just moving my mouse ever so slightly. Okay, and I'm just going to color this yellow so we can see it a little bit better. And so come into 108, that would be corresponding, over the course of the next 2 weeks with breaking above the 236, which is around 102, but not getting above the 382, which is at 112.60. And so I could see that happening for sure, especially there's a gap here. Let's see, the close on this day was 101.51. So I could see that bouncing, and with that bounce or that volatility, the premium could definitely get to above 38 cents. But, this one is not a day trade. So we've definitely seen that prices come down. We'll have to see, what it opens up at on Monday. I suspect that theta decay will be bringing this down lower. And that premium, though, I think I forgot to mention it, but it is above 100,000. So, that I feel like for me that gets my attention because it's, an order of magnitude higher than than a Wall Street Bets YOLO. So that does strike me as more interesting. And, the premium for them, $38 per contract, here being 38 cents. That is, much less than $1, which would be $100. And so that's, what I would be willing to risk. So I find that interesting. And then the next one here, I'm really excited about this one, Palantir. I am a shareholder. And so I got an alert for this today, also 2 weeks from now. This is with a strike of $35. So it's pretty wow. I mean, this could, be going up a lot because it's currently trading right around 30. And actually around their earnings call, I did buy a put that expires today with a strike, buy a call with a strike of $30, which expires today. I ended up losing money on that because price came down and I lost conviction in it, and I just didn't want it to go to zero. So I took a loss, but the contract was $20. So it was, I would have been fine for that to go to zero. And, so maybe that's a less than I should have held it. But I think the expiration was actually next Friday, but that's just, me learning options. And, it would have been worth it to risk the $20 going to zero rather than exiting. I think I got $5 back. So, that was a 75% loss, but a good lesson in, I might as well just risk losing all the $20 because I could see Palantir being very volatile going to the upside because they just had earnings and they do tend to be pretty volatile after earnings. So it hit a high today of $30.36. So the premium of that contract that I had sold would have been above 20 cents, translating to $20. And so I could have made money on that. But, a nice lesson there. But so anyways, looking at this contract, this is with a strike of $35 expiring in 2 weeks. The premium for this, that was traded today, is over 240,000. So definitely not a Wall Street Bets YOLO. The average fill 12 cents, and it looks like it's currently around 13 cents. So kind of flat on the day. I have to say, I did pick up one of these. I picked up one at an average of 11 cents. I believe that's what the alert price was. Oh, this was 10. But yeah, just kind of having fun with it. I could have sold it, for, let's see, the high of 16 cents. But there's a couple weeks and I'm risking 11 cents. So I just figured, well, I'll hold this not until expiration, but I'll hold it for another week. And my limit sell, I got it at 11 cents, would be 12 cents, 22 cents. So I'd be, getting a 2x. It's only turning $11 into $22, but it's just practice in me managing the emotions of putting money on around options. But I do think that this could suggest that this is going a lot higher. And that, this is a topic signal with a wick up there. It does suggest the options activity that this could be going much higher. And, I also heard on X, exchange with somebody, that this is going to be added to the S&P 500. So if there's news that comes out about that or something next week, this could definitely be going higher. And this contract is right around that price now. Average fill currently is around 12 cents. And I could actually look this up in the options table. So this is calls expiring on the 23rd with a strike of 35. Oops, I've got to add more contracts here. So a strike of $35 expiring August 23rd. To buy one of those contracts is 13 cents, translating to $13 per contract. And so, I could see this going up a lot, but I could also see these going down and the price of these contracts being lower, shake people out, and then it go higher. But I just find this interesting. And I'm a shareholder of Palantir's, slowly building a small position. So this just makes me excited. So I wanted to share that with you guys. And then the other one that I am really excited about is this Chewy call. Not much going on here because there's no alert today. There was an alert yesterday. I did put a video out on this. So if I include 2 days here, we can see this massive order. This was, average fill of 54 cents. And it's currently valued at 68 cents. I was a little late. I think this was a nice example for me in seeing an alert, seeing people respond to it on X, and then recognizing, oh, well, this is something that I could participate in. I'd be interested to do that while managing risk. And so since that came out, the value of these contracts went up. And so I think I could have had a fill around 63 cents, something like that. But I kind of let it go. And it's like, oh, well, I'll just place my order at 69 cents and I'll just go with it. There would have been dip opportunities to around 64, so I could have gotten it cheaper. But my thesis is that Chewy price is going to be going higher and that this could be potentially a catalyst for squeezes, or whether that's in Chewy, GameStop, AMC, stuff like that we might be seeing a lot of volatility. And so the average fill for these contracts over the course of the past 2 days is 71 cents. Whereas for this, massive order, the average fill was 54 cents. So there's been a lot of buying since then. And at the time of, this order, the open interest was 225, I believe. We can see down here that, open interest, this is me learning how to access this data and read it. And I had actually posted on the channel about potentially writing some Python script to then get access to historical data. But then I realized, that'd take me a long time to do that. I do know how to do some coding, but I don't know Python. It would take too much time to learn how to do that, and really Unusual Whales does all of that. And so this does have the historical data with open interest here. So, we can see, if I scroll down here, that the open interest for these contracts, or this contract, is, in the 200s. It's not moving around much, but then following the 8th, when that massive volume came in, the volume went up from around 200 to over 9,000, the open interest went from around 200 to over 9,000. And the premium exchanged represents over 200,000. This order represents 293,000 apparently. That's the candle volume. Still kind of learning how to read these, but you can also see that candle is primarily, I'm just trying to get the cursor out of the way so I don't have that pop up, but this bar is primarily green, so that's primarily on the ask side, suggesting that these people are betting on price going higher up to $30 a share, whereas the bid side is only 28 contracts versus the ask side over 5,000. So definitely a bump there. This just looks really bullish and exciting. So I'm excited about that. And if it does dip, though, I think I've placed a buy order at 59 cents, and then I just get my average down. But my plan is I don't have a limit sell for the 69 cents. Or my average fill at 69 cents, which is just one contract. I'm just going to kind of wait and see what happens. Got 3 weeks to see. And, I think that we could be seeing a lot of volatility to the upside with Chewy, GameStop, AMC, whatnot, largely be signaled because of that. And so if I flip back over the chart, look at the Chewy chart, currently trading around, 23.70. So getting up to 30 is coming to this purple line. Went over this in that video. So, I think that we could be seeing a lot of exciting stuff coming. And, while I do have a few shares, maybe 5, I'm not sure exactly, it's, not a big position, but I thought, I'll just get some exposure by buying that contract. I could have sold today with the high being 80 cents or, 77 cents. Was if you look at the chart here, that's the average fill there. So, I could have made 8 cents on that, but I just kind of want to hold it and see what happens. But maybe this is an example of I should have taken that swing and just been happy with it. So so there's that. And what I'm probably going to do now is just look over at the flow here, and I'll go over the filters that I have applied because I find them to be fairly useful. And I did create up here you can save filters, and so I saved one. I've saved a few. These were just kind of like me learning how to do it, and this is the Ask default. So that's currently what I have it on, so I'll just explain how I have that filtered. And so I'll just go over kind of the layout here. So up here, I can pause this play button so then we'd stop seeing the scrolling. But I find that, when there is an order placed, if it's a massive order, it's good to kind of pounce on it rather than, pause, have a delay, whatever. So I think it's good to be looking at live data, and I'm showing only 50 results per page. I could boost it up to 250, but then I'd probably have some issues with the stream. I found that it's just too much data processing, that the video content that I'm putting out to you guys would be diminished. And so some of the other filters, the settings that I have here, I do have one on the side of the order. And so I only have the ask side selected because I want to know what people are buying. And so if you guys are familiar with options, or if you're not, I can pull up, just an example. So here from Chewy, that, these are calls. This is all just arbitrary. Actually, since today's expiration, I'll do it for the 30th here for that contract at a strike of $30. Is that right? Let's see, I'm just going to switch back to this. Chewy at $30 on the 30th. And so this here is on the bid side. That's the sell side. And this number here is on the buy side, or the ask side. And so if orders are getting filled for this at 70 cents, as highlighted here, that suggests people are buying. And so that's bullish because this is a call. But if they're being filled on the sell side, which is the the bid side, that'd be 69 cents. That would suggest that people are selling them, and that would then be bearish. So that's the bid side versus the ask side. And so I want to know what people are buying, because somebody might be selling their contracts just to kind of lower their risk threshold, rather than, like, let's say they bought a call a week ago, and today it hit a 100%, a 2x swing, whatever that value is for that premium. And so maybe that was just their limit, and so they want to get out of the position, take the risk off the table. And so if there are bid orders here, that might just suggest that people are managing risk, not necessarily that they think the top or bottom is in. But if people are buying, they're buying because they think it's going to go in that direction, whether it's a call or a put, going up or down. So for me, I find that to be useful. Otherwise, it just gets to be too cluttered. Mid, it can be, gray area. Same with no side, as far as I understand. So I just want it to be clear. I just want to look at ask orders. And then also coming down, I am looking at calls and puts. I don't have a bias. I just want to know the direction things might be going in. Expiration dates, I don't have that selected. Instead, what I have done is I have done the filter down here based on the days till expiration, which I will go over in just this. Well, actually, I'll go over it now because I'm talking about it rather than just going down the list. And so I have that it should be 1, so not 0 days till expiration, which would be today. So I have 1 because I feel that for me, managing my risk, managing my emotions around these contracts, that if it's 0 days to expiration, I will probably, maybe end up buying too high. If it goes low, I'll think, well, I might as well cut my losses, and then it goes back up. So that doesn't really work for me. So that's why I have the filter with 1 day in there. I don't want any 0 days till expiration contracts. And then I have 40 up here just so I have at least a month, window for these contracts. And so I find that to be a nice way to kind of filter what's coming through here. And then premium up here, that is, we can see from the list here, premium, this should be more than 2,000 or more. And just, I want that to be a high number because I want to be looking at what whales are doing, not what average retail, what I am doing. I want to be seeing what the whales are doing. So I have that minimum of 2,000. I sometimes change it to 1,000 or 5,000 depending on what I'm looking at, but that's just kind of like the default for these filters. And then spot, I have that maximum set to $1, and so that's really just because if I am going to be buying calls or puts, I don't want to be putting more than $100 on the line. I don't want to be risking more than $100, and so that's why I have the spot maximum at $1. That translates to $1 per contract. $100 per contract, because it's $1 times 100 shares. And so that's just like, maybe, there are some contracts that are well above $1, but I just won't partake in them. And so I'll just filter them out, just like same with 0 days till expiration. I'm just going to filter it out. I don't want the noise, but also I don't want stuff that's like leaps, stuff that's expiring in 2025 or 2026, filter that out. So I'm just doing over the course of the next month, because then that gives me time to do a like month-long swing trade with them, with it not being like, oh, the expiration date is, tomorrow, so, and then I also have the volume over open interest. I believe that's Ed's hiding it. It's behind him, but now above him it should be volume over open interest. That should be greater than 2. So that's like if open interest, like with Chewy, was 225, I only want to be alerted if the volume is over, that would be like 500 basically. And yesterday we saw a lot more volume, so that's why I have that filter there. But I also do have this is kind of redundant. I do have the volume over open interest, so that should be there, but maybe I adjust it above to not be 2. It's always going to be at least volume is greater than open interest, suggesting the sentiment is shifting from maybe neutral to either bullish or bearish. And so that's when I would want to get in. And then also, I probably wouldn't have done this normally, but it was recommended by, or not, maybe recommend is not the right word, but the example given by a tutorial like from Unusual Whales was to filter out, so only out of the money calls or puts, whatever contracts, because then that you want to be buying when it's out of the money, and then when it moves in the money, sell, take profit. And so that's the filter that I have here. And so we can see a bunch of stuff coming in. We got about 9 minutes left, and I might flip over to the Discord. You guys won't be able to see it, but just to see what has come out from Unusual Whales. So one thing, this is interesting. I was just talking about MU. This contract did just get an alert from them, which is same contract. So if I pop up, clicking on the link in the Discord, it would pull up this. And the alert in Discord, I'm just reading it on this screen. I just don't want to show it because, something that I pay for, and I don't want to be like exploiting that by sharing it here. But so it looks like the premium for this recent order, this bar, I can just read it. I'll read it on my screen and see how it translates over here. But so the premium is 146,000 over that. And so candle premium here, it looks like what you guys are seeing, it's about 55,000. So that's a lot. But, could be over 100,000. Average fill, 35 cents is what I'm seeing from the Unusual Whales alert. And let's see. But over here, what you guys are seeing, average fill 28 cents. And the volume over open interest, that's 8. So it's definitely, a lot of volume. And so, this volume for this candle, that is, let's see, candle volume, almost 2,000, whereas the open interest is under 500. It will be updated on Monday. And the volume traded today is over 5,000, with the majority of that being on the ask or the bullish side. So, I think this is pretty exciting. And this is one that I got a couple contracts on. I think I bought one around 38 and then got another one at 28. And, so I have a limit order set to around 20%, I think is the swing I was looking for with that. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. And we can actually, maybe I can see it up here. No, but there was one on this, which, let's see. Yeah, this one was alerted as well. $14.50 put strike expiring next Friday, so on the 16th, for Carnival Cruise CCL. And so we can see here this candle, the volume of that candle is 3,000, whereas the open interest is 1,000. So the volume of that candle represents, which is ask as well as mid, but that's about 3 times the amount of the open interest. So that does suggest, there's a lot behind this relative to the prior activity, and the premium over 100,000. That's traded for today, but this order looks like it was around 75,000 for that candle. Yeah, so I find that to be pretty cool. I'm not, in this one. I am in the MU one. But yeah, I just wanted to share that. And then we can just kind of, watch what's coming in here as we have about 5 minutes left. Maybe some of this stuff would suggest a lot of volatility. Like here, we're seeing some calls and puts on the SPY that's suggesting maybe a top would be in. Here, some puts on Penn. So let's take a look at those. This, premium 7,000. So to me, that is, a Wall Street better YOLOing on this. So don't need to pay attention to it. So that is kind of, my stance on that. Not worth the risk there. CleanSpark, I believe they have earnings coming up. So this call, let's take a look at this. Sorry, I clicked the wrong one. Click it here. So this 27,000, so above 10,000, but not 100,000. I'd like to see $100,000 whale, and so that's not this one. Lots of SPY stuff. People betting on stuff over the weekend. So, definitely risky there. But, I just think it's interesting to be seeing what's going on with these contracts. This is like this weekly SPX 500 calls, puts. So let's just see what happens. We got about 4 minutes left. And one thing, I might actually flip back over to some of these. So because this expires today, this is, let's see, value, this is going to 0. So, I threw away $20 on this one. But, it was a good lesson for me, learning that, it wasn't worth it, because this volume was here on this spike and it didn't continue running. So somebody lost a lot of money on this, apparently. Now, the other one that expires today is Unity Software. This is closing below $16. So when this was alerted at around 69 cents, the average fill now is around 57. So, definitely could have made money on this, with buy-in at the lows here at 14 cents. But this order was placed kind of at the wrong time. So here, got about a few minutes left. Let's look at some other tickers. Anything stand out? No, a lot of it's just like the SPY and DraftKings. This is one that I went over. SPY, SPX, NASDAQ. Semiconductors long, so this is suggesting that they're betting on it going down over the course of the next week because it's a put. Oops, clicked the wrong one. Clicked it again. Here, so this is SOXL put expiring next week. Current value is around almost 31. This is 3x leveraged long semiconductors, and so this is suggesting this is a put, but the majority, so this alert, was on something on the ask side. But if we look at the ask side, it's pretty puny, that volume compared to this massive red candle sticking up. And if we look at the open interest, 1,000 on the ask side, it's around the same volume, just a little bit higher, but the bid is like 2 times that. So it does suggest that this is, while it's a put, there's actually more bullish sentiment suggesting that semiconductors will be going up over the course of the next week, not going down, even though this is a put. So very important to be paying attention, even if there's an alert on the ask side. Good to click on the contract to look into it to see is the majority ask or bid. And you can also see that kind of summarized here. But that's something I'm still kind of like learning on how to read because this is the chain bid and ask. Moving up into the close, looks like there's some calls going on with, let's look at GameStop here. So this is for next week, but this does look like the majority on the bid side. So that's suggesting bearish activity potentially. PayPal coming in beyond, Shopify. So let's see. We got about 30 seconds left, it looks like, before the market closes. And so once this stops, 30 seconds. Lots of SPY calls being placed, it looks like. But, the majority of the SPY calls are on the bid side. So that does suggest bearish potentially. Maybe we're going to see a top here soon. It looks like about 15 seconds less than that before the market closes. And let's see. Yeah, probably just a couple seconds. I'm thinking like 5 seconds right now. Okay, so the market's closed, so this is going to stop updating, or I believe it should. I'm surprised that these are coming in after the hour. I guess these were just some very last second orders that were placed, or maybe that just represents the lag in the live data time, 4-cent lag, because the market should have closed at 4 o'clock. But yeah, I mean, I just find this to be really interesting, and I do apologize that I limited the live chat to members only. I haven't gotten any chats. I have seen a few people tune in, but just trying to filter it out. I get distracted by the comments, and also I had somebody comment. I wasn't really that bad, but it was a little bit rude, and it just made me realize, I don't really want to stream, and so if I am streaming, I want to be doing it, having fun. And yeah, this one's coming in 50 seconds after the hour, so that's kind of crazy. But yeah, I mean, let's look at these contracts. So this one, closed in the money today, expired in the money, so not worthless. This one expired very much worthless. This was just kind of like a stupid play that I partook in, but why not? But from these this list that I do have here bookmarked, I'm probably going to include some of this information in a video that I would do on some of these tickers like ASTS. I think that this one's a really interesting, one to be looking into as far as options and unusual whale activity informing on stock price action. And I did just do a video on Chewy. Let's see. I might consider the GameStop options to inform on this. For the day, it does look like this contract, the prior open interest over 1,000 with the ask being over 4,000. So that does suggest bullish in the favor of the bulls. I will probably definitely do one on Palantir because, I just find this to be exciting. And maybe I do one on SoundHound. But I feel like for me, just not even necessarily, I don't have a position in AST Space Mobile, but I just find the options activity to be really interesting. I didn't buy one of these calls or anything today. But with their earnings being next week, I feel like this could be really informative for those who, have been following the channel and who've requested ASTS in the past. I think that this could be really informative. And also with Palantir, with price being, wow, it closed at $30. That's crazy. Let's look at, it's not been populating, but yeah, so okay, I can look up Max Payne here for Palantir. What was it for today? It's probably $30. Actually, 27. So while we might see that Palantir closed, actually it looks like it's 30.02. But yeah, I mean, that's closing above here. I think Palantir is going a lot higher. Could be going up to 35, or maybe that's just to capitalize on the momentum of that premium as far as this contract goes. But I think this could be really informative for those interested in the stock. And so, yeah, I'll probably be doing videos over the weekend on ASTS, on GameStop, and on Palantir. I'll also be doing an AMC video now that the market has closed. I'll be doing that because I like to start the weekend with AMC. But I might not be doing too many videos this weekend, and I might limit the live chat on Sunday night's Ticker Request Live to be for subscribers. So if you guys are subscribers, happy to take requests during that. But, I think just for, I don't know, but keeping things balanced on the channel, I don't want people just popping in and then saying some crap and then leaving. So I'll probably limit that to subscribers. But yeah, I noticed a couple people have joined. And what I might do at the end of this, let's see, I am, still kind of fumbling with this, but I have this limited to, this is something I got to get more familiar with. But I might include everybody now. So I'm going to adjust that. So if you guys do have any final comments or requests for me, I'm happy to open that up to you guys, whoever still watching. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate you stopping by. This is, I feel like something that adds value for me, for my trading, looking at unusual whales, learning from that options activity, and using it to inform on trades that I'm either currently participating in or thinking about participating in. So not only, looking at levels that I have drawn in the charts, but looking at, when it dips here, does the options activity, does the whales activity reflect that this is a bottom and a good opportunity to buy, and then price goes up. So I think that using unusual whales to inform on the chart, inform whether that's buying shares, selling shares, buying calls, puts, whatever, selling them, I think that's going to be a really great feature to add to the channel. And so while the content or the quality of the videos I feel like might go down a little bit as I fumble with this stuff, but I do think that the quality of the trade setups will go up. And so, I'd rather put out good videos that are beneficial for trading than put out videos that just get a lot of views and stuff, which has been kind of tough because I feel like whenever I do put out videos that have a lot of value as far as trade setups, they don't get that many views. So it's a little discouraging. But, I'm going to try to do that, and I think unusual whales will be really beneficial for that. But yeah, I mean, with that being said, I'm probably going to close down the stream. And so I thank you all who stopped by. And I am, going to close this down, work on an AMC video, and then probably relax tonight and stuff. And I actually might check, because I don't see anything popping up. Let's see. Yeah, I didn't see any chats here. So, yeah, with that being said, thank you so much for joining. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I'm just going to throw this up. If you did enjoy this content, make sure you like it. Share your thoughts in the comments down below or in the live chat. Always happy to hear from you guys, as long as, you guys aren't tearing me down. If I am screwing stuff up, this is all a learning process for me. And so, that is really what the channel is to serve as, documenting my learning process as a trader. And yeah, I mean, make sure you subscribe. Moving forward, live chats will probably be limited to subscribers only. So, just wanting to make sure that those who, care about the channel are participating in it and not just, trashing the feed there. But yeah, thank you so much for joining. Have a great weekend, and I look forward to streaming with you guys Sunday evening. And I will have the trading plan out from last week. I got to release that to the public now. And then the new one tomorrow for members.